I usually look at that.
That's time.
Quinn Hart.
Flash.
Kind of flushed out those boys.
Is it supposed to flash?
Not sure.
Okay. Welcome to the Tuesday, April 16th, 2013 meeting of the Hot Springs Board of Directors. And tonight our invocation will be led by Minnie Lennox, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you please stand with me?
May we bow our heads. Father God, we come this evening with humbled hearts, oh Heavenly Father, with our hearts attuned to your word. As we prepare to undertake the business of the city this evening, Father God, we ask you to guide our hearts, our minds, Father God, and let everything be done decent and in order. Right now we give you glory, honor, and praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I hereby call this meeting to order. Would you please call the roll?
Yes. Davidson.
Here.
Jones.
Here.
Clark.
Here.
Garcia.
Here.
McCabe. Here. Foley.
Here.
Carney.
Here. Okay, the first item of business is to consider the approval of the agenda. Directors, are there any corrections, additions, deletions, or modifications to the agenda, including items, if any, to be removed from the consent agenda? Mr. Foley?
Madam Mayor, I would like to make a motion that we remove resolution on point number 11, Resolution R1367, from the agenda.
Okay.
I realize that there are people who are interested in the board's position as to whether we support city manager form of government or not, but this is a political statement at a time we've asked for a general election on the issue, and I think it's inappropriate to be placed on a resolution as a formal action. I think the people in my district know that I totally support the city manager form of position, but I don't think this is the venue. I think it's self-serving, so I would move that it be removed totally.
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Do we need to say all in favor? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, resolution number R1367 will be removed from the consent agenda. Okay, are there any other additions or corrections for the consent agenda?
I just want to clarify that motion. That was total removal from the agenda, period, not just the consent agenda. Thank you.
Okay. Hearing no other, do I have a motion to accept the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Okay. Second. Okay. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion is adopted. The agenda as amended. Do we need to call the roll on that? Okay. The second item of business is to consider the approval of the minutes of the board meeting of the regular meeting held on April the 7th, 2013. Are there any corrections, additions, deletions, or modifications to the minutes? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. The motion is adopted to accept the minutes. In an effort to afford equal and orderly opportunity to address the items on tonight's agenda, I would remind our citizens and our guests that we adhere to a 3-minute limit on your comments. And for your convenience, we will display a clock timer in the monitor at the top, and out of respect for all of our guests, we ask that you adhere to this limit. And while our board members have questions of the speakers, we ask that any general comments be reserved for the board discussion after all the speakers have been heard. And we also ask that all our cell phones be silenced during the meeting, and please refrain from any disruptions of the meetings. And should you need to leave prior to the conclusion of the meeting, we ask that you do so quietly. Thank you all for being here, and we appreciate your interest in the business of our city. At this time, we have some guests to be recognized. We have our proclamations. We have a proclamation acknowledging April 26th as Arbor Day, and we have Mr. Jack Tharp. Would you like to come forward, and I'll read the proclamation? And would you like to introduce yourself, and you have a few words for us, and then I'll read the proclamation.
My name is Jack Thorpe. I'm the chairman of the Urban Forestry Commission, and I appreciate you taking your time meeting here today and with this proclamation. Thank you.
Just stay right there, and I'll read it, and I'll present it to you. Whereas National Arbor Day is observed throughout the nation and the world on the birthday of J. Sterling Morton, who proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture in 1872 that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas the trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in all areas increase property value, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, beautify our community, and are a source of joy and spiritual renewal to many, and whereas recognizing the importance of the vital role of trees play in our ecosystem, Hot Springs, Arkansas continues the observance of Arbor Day on the third Monday in March of each year. Now, therefore, I, Ruth Carney, Mayor of the City of Hot Springs, Arkansas, on behalf of the Board of Directors, do hereby proclaim and acknowledge the day of April 19th, 2013 as National Arbor Day in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and urge all citizens to support efforts to protect and care for our trees and woodlands in support of Hot Springs Community Forestry Program, and to plant trees to gladden the hearts and promote the well-being of present and future generations. In witness whereof I have hereto set my hand and caused the seal of the city to be affixed on the 16th day of April in the year of our Lord 2013. Ruth Carney, Mayor. And I get to plant a tree every year. I just love it. I go out for Arbor Day, and it's so neat. And the kids are out at the park. And are we going to do that again this year, I hope?
So.
Okay, great. I was going to make a proclamation that all houses had to be tree houses, but they're not going to do that.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Oh, would you like to say something?
Sure.
We have, on Arbor Day, where is Jean Wallace? Is she not here? They have hundreds of kids that go out for Arbor Day, and they do a great job with the schools that bring out, is it 5th grade that goes out for the park? And they have a great day out there at which park is it? You know, the park out by the lake. Which one? Entergy Park. Yes, I have one of those senior moments in my brain today. Okay, thank you. And then we're acknowledging April 27th, 2013 as Earth Day. Did anybody want to say anything about Earth Day? Was that on the same day?
Just briefly, Earth Day is April 22nd. It's recognized throughout the country. We will also have an E-Day celebration coming up, kind of an environment day outside of April 22nd down at the farmers market. But for Earth Day, April 22nd, there'll be events going on in different areas. So we appreciate the fact that you're recognizing that day for Hot Springs. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Okay. Now we'll have our city manager's report.
Well, thank you, Mayor. You know, we've had bad news in the media recently, and I think we all lament what happened yesterday. So I want to talk a little bit about some good news that we've had here locally. And these might be little things, but they really kind of show how I think our organization responds to complaints and how we get things done. On April 1, we received a phone call from a citizen who stated that the street sign at the intersection of Farnsworth and Taylor Place was missing. The sign crew put the new sign up on April 2nd, and Mrs. Hill called to thank us for being so prompt. We received a long letter from Bud Kinney, who lives in unincorporated Garland County, but owned 2 businesses in Hot Springs. And his letter was basically about the alleged city-county feud, which, as he points out, it's really not a feud. It's a philosophical difference about planning and zoning responsibilities. But anyway, he cites an example where he was walking along Wildcat Road, which, as you know, is just barely outside the city, and he came across a ravine that had a stream running through it that ultimately runs to Lake Hamilton. And he looked down in that area, and it was just filled with trash and debris and, just horrible condition. So he went back and he did some research, and he found out that that stream was actually owned by the city of Hot Springs. And so he contacted Max Sestili with our stormwater division, and he went up there and took a look at it, and he agreed with Mr. Kinney that this was something that had to be dealt with. And so realizing the amount of effort it would take to get that done, Max contacted our staff, which went in and helped remove all the debris, all the trash, thinking about Earth Day. What a great example of doing something to protect the environment. But Max went beyond that. He went to our JP who represents that district, Dave Reagan, and said, is there anything we can do about putting up a guardrail to keep people from throwing it in there in the first place? And so right now we are working with the county on getting a guardrail to solve a problem. It's in the county, unincorporated area, but it's a city stream. And Mr. Kinney concluded his letter, I thought, with a good comment. He said, while I may not like some of the things that our city and county government do, I think they generally function well. And as the old saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And then finally, I know that Mayor Carney and possibly others participated in the Free Ride Day on Friday. And I'm happy to report that we had 893 passengers participate that day, which is approximately 30% higher than we get on a typical Friday. And 25 local merchants donated giveaways that were distributed to every passenger that rode that day. In addition, free refreshments were offered to all passengers. The winner of the yearly passes were Jim Bunkley and Charlene Rogers. So thank you, Bob Reddish, for helping to put on that great event. That's all I have.
Great. I might add something to that. I rode all the routes, and it was awesome. I met the neatest people. I bonded. It was so neat. And as I would get on and communicate with the people, we're working with Healthy Hot Springs also. It's the one that I got locked in at DeGray, and we're trying to meet the needs of people, especially accessibility, walkability. And we found out that we're just not doing real well with handicap accessible sidewalks at all. Even our buses only hold like 2 wheelchairs at a time. I learned a lot of stuff, so I'm going to take some of those people from the Healthy Accessibility Hot Springs on bus rides with me, and we're going to learn what these people really need. So I've got a whole list of things that I've learned that we're going to try to make our city a more livable place for the people who have these special needs. So it was a great day. I bonded with so many people. I have phone numbers. They have mine. And we're going to work together with some of them to make things a little bit better for them. It's great. Thank you. Okay. Do any of our directors have announcements concerning upcoming events? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I wanted to announce that this Thursday on the 18th, the Arkansas Highway Department will have a public meeting at the Lake Hamilton Baptist Church Fellowship Hall, and that's located at the intersection of Highway 7 South and Highway 290. And a couple upcoming projects for this public meeting are widening of Highway 7 South from the bridges at Lake Hamilton to Highway 290, and the second piece or phase is from 290 to the county line on Highway 7 South. I would also like to announce that on Tuesday, April 30th, the Forest Heights Neighborhood Association will be having their meeting at 6 p.m. at the Church of the Open Door, and that's located at the intersection of Highland Street and Delaware Street. And then on May 2nd, Thursday at 4:30 p.m., I will host a community meeting in District 5 at the Forest Lakes Clubhouse, and our city manager, David Watkins, will present the State of the City address and have any other city updates for the community at that time. Thank you.
Director Jones.
Thank you. On April the 20th at 6 p.m. at the First Church of the Nazarene at 3804 Central Avenue, Jamesetta Smith every year have a lupus fundraiser for her foundation, which is a very tiring effort. I've been to 2 of them, and I'm going to try to make it to this one. It's April 20th at 6 p.m. There's no charge. Then on May the 4th and the 5th, there will be Pioneer Days, and it's at the fairgrounds, and it's sponsored by the Friends of the Garland County Courthouse. They had one in October that was a success, so they're going to try to do it again. It's $5 for a carload, but if you go to the rodeo, you have to pay for that. Then on April 27th, there's going to be a grant writing seminar held at Webb Community Center, and the fee, I think it's like $199. It's from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and it's by Dr. Beverly Browning. She's a Hot Springs resident, but she don't live here anymore. But anybody that's interested in learning how to write a good grant, she's the one wrote Grant for Dummies, that book. So all that can and will, we would really enjoy it if you could show up. We'll have lunch and a small breakfast, continental breakfast is what it'll be. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any other? Yes, sir. Oh, we got 2 sirs there at the same time.
The Garland County Court-appointed special advocates will be hosting their 2nd annual Garland County CASA Children's Spring Festival, featuring free fun and games for all ages. It'll be held on Saturday, April 27th from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the Hot Springs Memorial Field on Airport Road. The festival is held each year during the Child Abuse Awareness Month and is designed to promote family and community togetherness, is open to the public, and is free of charge. Donations will be accepted to help further the mission of Garland County CASA, which is to provide trained volunteer advocates to safeguard the best interests of abused and neglected children in dependency neglected cases by providing factual information to guide decisions made on their behalf. The festival will feature Flossie's Funnel Cakes, Arkansas Game and Fish Mobile Aquarium, bounce houses, climbing wall. So, David, we expect you to be on the climbing wall.
I'll do that.
Prizes, games, and other activities. There will also be raffles with great items to be won. So come out and watch David climb the wall. And for more information, you can contact the festival director, Molly Van Wee, at 321-9269. Again, that's April 27th at the Hot Springs Airport, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Who's going to be chasing me?
That comes under other duties as assigned. Thank you, Mayor.
Madam Mayor, I would like to announce that next week, Thursday, on the 25th at 6 p.m., at the Lakeside High School Technology Center, room 102, we will be having our District 6 public forum for a discussion of the board, manager, and mayor, alderman forms of city government. Many people in our community really do not know the differences, and we have an election, an important election for the future of this city coming up. And I would hope that that interested citizens would get out there and really understand the differences, because the differences are pretty stark. In any event, the people that we have presenting at that forum will be former Mayor Jim Randall, who worked under both forms of city government, and also City Attorney Brian Albright, who can address the particulars, the legal particulars in the two structures. Please plan to attend and bring a friend. Now, this is going to be free of charge, no charge for public forums. But right after that, Lakeside High School will be, right across the hall, will be providing its first of 3 performances, the musical Bye Bye Birdie. So make it a fun night. Come out, get some education, and then some real classy entertainment at Lakeside. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
I'm not expected to have a cameo appearance in that.
Who you play?
Okay. Anybody else? Upcoming events. All right. I've lost where we are. That was so much. Okay, we're all 16. The way down. To where? Consent agenda?
Consent agenda.
Yeah, consent agenda. Okay, the next item of business is consideration of the consent agenda. Items in this section are of a routine nature and will be considered as one item of business without discussion. I will now entertain a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Okay. Would you please call the roll?
Yes. Jones.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Foley.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Carney.
Aye. I will make a statement here. We had some people signed up for the consent agenda, and if you would like to remain till the whole thing's over, we have a public comment section at the end, and we'll just transfer you over to that since you did sign up. If you want to stay to the very end and do the public comment, we'll just switch your name over to there if you'd like to wait that long. The next item of business is a public hearing on vacating portions of platted undeveloped streets in the Lawrence subdivision located near 847 Whittington Avenue. Would you like to take it from there?
Yeah, Mayor, if you would just open the public hearing section. Is there anyone here to speak to this item?
Thank you. Is that here?
Mr. Bridges.
Is that where they do that here? Do they do that
You can
here?
do it at either time.
Either time?
This is fine. Yeah.
My name's Jack Bridges, presently owner of the Arkansas Alligator Farm Petting Zoo and Sanctuary. And I'm here a lot of people seem to be interested in why we want to change up the property that we have. Right now, most of our property is listed as residential. And of course, with what we're planning to do with that baseball part up there, is not appropriate to have residential. And we're trying to get it changed into commercial. And right now, we have a program, a lot of people seem to know, what are we going to do with this now if we get this changed? Well, we plan on taking this field. Now, this is the field that's behind my property. It's my property. It's within my property. It's a field that is residential, and it's the old baseball field that back then the National League pros would winter here in Hot Springs instead of Florida. And there's a lot. We passed out some information to you showing you the field. That's our field behind there. And what we would like to do with this field is set up, first of all, a more or less a miniature backstop, baseball backstop, put the home plate where it was, and then maybe put a couple of, right at present time, put a couple of batting machines on each side, and we keep the field groomed. If you've ever been up behind, a lot of people hadn't been up there. We hadn't got it really open that much. Right now we've been using it as a emergency parking lot, because on our weekends, believe it or not, sometimes we fill up our parking lot and we have to use that baseball field to get emergency for those people to park. Sometimes the church that's next to us will infringe on them, and of course we've talked to him, and he says as long as it don't interfere with his services, that it will be all right. So this is what we plan to do with the park. We also, I would like to put up something that would more or less recognize those players that were great baseball players that made the Baseball Hall of Fame, something in the form of a monument to recognize them, put it up there. And then later on, you know, a lot of people say, well, he's fixing this up to sell that property. No, I'm not. The farm's been there. This July the 1st, the farm's been there 111 years. And, of course, my family's had it over 50. My wife and I, who recently passed away, we've had it over right at 30 years. So, and we've got, it's incorporated. I've got 4 children. I've got 13 grandchildren and two great. So we're not going anywhere soon. I might be, but I've got others I don't think it will. But this is what we plan to do. And I'd like to introduce at this time Mr. Mark Toth. Where's he at? He's hard to keep up with. But and he's going to tell you a little about what we would like to do as far as some of the roads that we have into this system. And he'll talk to you about that. Anybody have any questions? Okay. I appreciate you, and I want to thank the directors, the president, all of you. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak our piece, okay? Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Mark Toth. I'm president of the Whittington Valley Neighborhood Association. Jack has asked me to come up here and talk to you. Their plans require rezoning of the property, and that's a long, sometimes involved process. They own multiple parcels there, and back when this was first platted back in the 18-something, they actually put in roads on the maps. These roads are not developed, they don't exist, and in order for them to be able to build what they need to, these roads need to be vacated. So that's what that process is. In your packet was a letter that I wrote to the mayor. Our members are in full support of this. We made an effort to go and talk to people in and around the property to make sure that there would be no conflicts or problems. So we would urge you to go ahead and do the first part of this process. You'll probably be seeing us again when it comes time to do the rezoning. But the alligator farms have been in place, as Jack says, 111 years. We wanted to see it be there and thrive for another 111. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. There's no one else signed up. Okay.
Mayor, if you would conclude the public hearing section on this item, and you'd call for the next order of business.
Okay. The public, no one else has signed up, and we will now conclude the public hearing section. And the next item of business is to consider ordinance number 01321. First of all, I will entertain a motion to suspend the rules and read by title only. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to suspend the rules and read by title only. All in favor of the motion, please. Wait a minute. Read by title only. Do I have a motion?
Yes.
Moved.
All in favor of the motion, please suspend the rules and read by title. Please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Council, would you read the ordinance by title?
Ordinance 01321, an ordinance vacating portions of platted, undeveloped streets in the Lawrence subdivision located near 847 Whittington Avenue, subject to certain conditions and for other purposes. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you now entertain a motion, a second to adopt, and have discussion, if any.
Do I have a motion? Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
I would just like to thank Mr. Bridges and his family for improving that property. I think it's a nice asset to our community.
Okay. staff person. Would that be you?
Yeah, Mayor, I'll be happy to address a portion of this. There is a method under Arkansas law found in Arkansas Code annotated section 14-301-301, which allows for property owners to petition for the vacation of streets, even though these streets have never been dedicated for, well, they've been platted and dedicated, but never accepted or maintained. They are not currently being used by the public, but they have to be vacated in order for them to be developed. This process would allow essentially the property owners on each side of the street to go to the center of the street. You have a petition in your packet that's signed by all of the relevant property owners. So the petition appears to be in order. There is a condition with respect to this ordinance that it must be replatted after you approve the ordinance. There was some discussion about the use that's going to be made of the property, which would require a rezoning, but that is not a condition of the vacation of the streets itself.
And that's not an issue tonight.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Any further discussion? Any questions? Okay. Hearing none, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Clark?
Aye.
McCabe?
Aye.
Garcia?
Aye.
Folly?
Aye.
Davidson?
Aye.
Jones?
Aye.
Carney?
Aye. Okay. It is adopted.
It's done, Mr. Bridges.
The next item of business is to consider condemnation resolutions number R 1371 through number R 1381. Council, would you please read the resolution by title?
Yes, Mayor. We'll as soon as Bart gets it, he's ready to go. So we'll be doing these in succession. So if you'll bear with us, Resolution R13-71 condemning certain real property at 100K. Mayor, that does conclude the reading by title. If you would entertain a motion and a second to adopt, and we'll have discussion.
Do I have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? And that would be you, Bart.
Thank you, Mayor. We do have 11 structures proposed for condemnation tonight. The first one is 100 K Street. The boards on the front were put there by the city. Excuse me. This is a shot of the side of the structure. A tree had collapsed on the side. This is the floor of the structure. It's obviously, you can see down into the subflooring area. Severe termite damage, structural damage. You can see where the roof's leaking along where the tree fell. We do have proper notice to the owner, Mr. Albright, and we recommend passing the resolution.
Is there anyone here to speak in opposition to Resolution R13-71 condemning certain real property at 100 K Street? 100 K Street. Hearing none, Mayor, and if there's no discussion from the board, please call the roll.
Okay. No discussion? Any questions? Okay. Would you please call the roll?
McCabe?
Aye.
Garcia?
Aye.
Folly?
Aye.
Davidson?
Aye.
Jones?
Aye.
Clark?
Aye.
Carney?
Aye.
Mayor, next item is 17B, Resolution R13-72, condemning certain real property located at 108 Boaz. That concludes the reading by title only. If you now entertain a motion second to adopt, and we'll have discussion.
Do I have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion.
Thank you, Mayor. 108 Boaz, obviously this structure is open, vacant. The front porch has fallen off of it. It's a shot of the interior. You've got interior damage from both the roof leaking and termite damage. You can see here where the roof is leaking into the building, and you've got structural damage. So we do have proper notice to the owner, Mr. Albright, and we recommend condemnation or passing the resolution.
Is there anyone here tonight to speak in opposition of Resolution R13-72 condemning certain real property at 108 Boaz? 108 Boaz. Hearing none, Mayor, and if there's no discussion from the board, you can call the roll.
Any questions? Discussion? Would you please call the roll?
Yes. Garcia?
Aye.
Folly?
Aye.
Davidson?
Aye.
Jones?
Aye.
Clark?
Aye.
McCabe?
Aye.
Carney?
Aye.
Mayor, next item is 17C, Resolution R-1373, condemning certain real property located at 117 Ross. That concludes the reading by title only. If you now entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Do I have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
The second?
Second.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. 117 Ross, again, open, vacant, abandoned property. This is, you see structural damage, roof leaks. That at one time was the kitchen. Also, most of these have had people breaking into them and cutting the copper and the other valuable things out of them. You can see the back of it. You can see right through the roof. We do have proper notice to the owner, and we recommend passing the resolution.
Anyone here to speak in opposition of Resolution R-1373 condemning certain real property at 117 Ross? 117 Ross.
There's Avery up there.
Yeah, he got ahead there.
We're ahead.
Hearing none, Mayor, if there's no discussion from the board, you can call the roll.
Is there any discussion? Okay, please call the roll.
Folly,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
McCabe,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
Carney.
Aye.
Next item is 17D, Resolution R-13-74, condemning certain real property at 118 Avery. That concludes your reading by title only. If you now entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Is there a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. 118 Avery, again, vacant, open, abandoned structure. You've got roof problems, structural deterioration. This shows where the floor is separating from one of the walls. We do have proper notice to the owner, and we do recommend passing the resolution.
Anyone here to speak in opposition of Resolution R-1374, condemning certain real property at 118 Avery? 118 Avery. Hearing none, Mayor, if you now if there's no discussion, call the roll.
Would you please call the roll?
Davidson,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
McCabe,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
Folly,
Aye.
Carney.
Aye.
Next item is 17E, Resolution R-1375, condemning certain real property located at 704 Sonnet. That concludes the reading by title only. If you now entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Do I have a motion to adopt? The second?
Second.
Do I have a second? You said? Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. It's
Discussion.
204 Sonnet. This is a bank foreclosure. We've been dealing with Bank of America about 2 years. They came out, put the tarp on it, but I think they're so far behind on foreclosures that this is just deteriorating. People are starting to get into it, break into it. The roof is continually leaking. So we'd like to go ahead and pass the resolution. If the bank comes through in the next 60 days and does something with it, that's fine. If not, we'd like to be in a position to tear it down. We do have proper notice on this one.
Just for the board, 3 new board members that may not have gone through a condemnation process before, there is a 60-day window by which the property owner can come forward and get an application for a rehab permit that can stay the demolition. But this puts the city in the position that if you approve the condemnation 60 days from now, we will let demolition bids for the demolition of the structures if no one comes forward to rehab.
Is there a lien filed on that
Yes, sir.
property?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Anyone here to speak in opposition of the resolution R-1375 condemning certain real property at 204 Sonnet? 204 Sonnet. Hearing none, Mayor, if there's any further discussion of the board, otherwise call the roll.
Please call the roll.
Jones,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
McCabe,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
Folly,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Carney.
Aye.
Next item is 17F, Resolution R-13-76, condemning certain real property at 250 Hobson. That concludes your reading by title only. If you now entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Do I have a motion?
That's so moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. 250 Hobson. This one had a fire about a year and a half ago. I met with the owner yesterday on site. She doesn't feel like she's in a position to do anything with it. She out-of-state owner. She lives in New Orleans. So we would like to see the resolution pass, so we'll be in a position to do something if she cannot.
Anyone here to speak in opposition of Resolution R-13-76, condemning certain real property at 250 Hobson? 250 Hobson. Hearing none, Mayor. If there's any other discussion, otherwise call for the roll.
Would you please call the roll?
Clark,
Aye.
McCabe,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
Folly,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Carney.
Aye.
Next item is 17G, Resolution R-13-77, condemning certain real property located at 312 Vista. That concludes your reading by title only. If you now entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
So moved.
A second. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. 312 Vista, I'm just going to show this one picture. So we had a major fire here. The owner hasn't done anything with it. It's been sitting there for approximately 8 months. We do have proper notice to the owner. They've not indicated they're going to do anything with the property.
Is anyone here to speak in opposition to Resolution R1377, condemning certain real property at 312 Vista? 312 Vista. Hearing none, Mayor, if there's no other discussion, please call the roll.
Please call the roll.
McCabe.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Folly.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Carney.
Aye.
Next item is 17H, Resolution Number R-13-78, condemning certain real property at 339 Silver. That concludes your reading. You've now entertained a motion second to adopt.
Do you have a motion?
So move.
Second. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. 339 Silver, this structure is open and vacant, has been for several years. We've had contact with the owner who is out of state. As you can see from the back photo, trees collapsed onto it, major structural damage. All the windows, the copper, everything's been stowed out of this. The owner is not in a position to do anything with it. We do have proper notice, Mr. Albright, and we recommend passing the resolution.
Anyone here to speak in opposition to Resolution Number R-13-78, condemning certain real property at 339 Silver? 339 Silver. Hearing none, Mayor, if you entertain a motion, entertain discussion, I'm sorry, and if there's not any, call the roll.
Discussion? Okay. Roll.
Garcia.
Aye.
Folly.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye.
Carney.
Aye.
Next item is 17I, Resolution R-13-79, condemning certain real property at 348 Mound. That concludes a reading by title only. If you would entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
A second? Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. 348 Mound, another structure that's had a fire. You can see from the interior there's been quite a bit of fire damage. I believe it burnt about a year ago, but I do believe there's somebody here to speak to it.
Mayor, the owners are here this evening. Ma'am, would you like to come up, please?
Yeah.
Could you give us your name and address?
Marilyn Jackson, 320 Vine.
Okay. Are you the owner of the property at 348 Mound?
Yes, I just found out I was.
Okay. You just recently learned that. What are your intentions of what to do with the property?
I would like to board it up and restore it.
Okay.
What would fix it up?
Ma'am, do you have any objection to the board going forward with the condemnation process tonight? It would allow you an additional 60 days to get with Mr. Jones to get your plan of action, but the board would go ahead and put into place their condemnation order so that if you didn't, we could proceed with demolition.
No, I don't have no objection.
Okay. And you would have the ability during
And
that.
it just caught on fire about 3 or 4 months ago.
Yes, ma'am. And you've indicated you might want to demolish the property yourself.
Yes, sir. If I cannot get it fixed, I would like to do it myself.
Okay. Mr. Jones will work with you as best he can to accomplish that. Does the board have any questions of this individual or of me, of the process, or Mr. Jones?
How did you just find out that it was yours?
She received a notice.
Mm-hmm.
It belonged to someone. That's okay. I just wondered.
No, it was in foreclosure.
Okay. Was it a family member that owned it?
She was listed as the owner, and at one time the bank had started the foreclosure action, at which point Ms. Jackson just kind of backed away from it, and now they've sent her a letter saying they're not going to follow through with that for obvious reasons.
And so now I will fix it. I didn't know.
You didn't know it?
I didn't know who owned the property.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there anyone else here tonight to speak in opposition of Resolution R-13-79, condemning certain real property at 348 Mound? 348 Mound. Hearing none, Mayor, if there's other discussion of the board, otherwise, if you'd call the roll.
Any other questions, discussion?
Folly.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Carney.
Aye.
Your next item is 17J, Resolution R-13-80, condemning certain real property at 401 South. That concludes a reading by title only. If you would entertain a motion, second to adopt, and then have discussion, if any.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. 401 South, you can see that the porch has fallen off. This has been vacant for several years. People have started to get in it, or have been getting in it for probably the last 6 months, and trashing it, cutting the copper out. We do have proper notice to the owner, Mr. Albright. As you can see in this picture, that's basically cobwebs across the top of the structure. So it's been sitting there a long time, open and vacant.
Is there anyone to speak here to speak in opposition to Resolution R13-80, condemning certain real property at 401 South? 401 South. Hearing none, Mayor, unless there's other discussion, please call the roll.
Would you call the roll, please?
Davidson.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Foley.
Aye.
Carney.
Aye.
Mayor, your last condemnation for consideration under 17K is resolution number R-13-81, condemning certain real property located at 414 East Grand. That concludes a reading by title only. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Discussion.
Thank you, Mayor. We do have proper notice to the owner on this, Mr. Albright, who happens to be the state of Arkansas. This was one of those that got certified to the state back in the 60s. Then the state lost track of it for a long period of time. When you called the state, they had no idea. So basically, they quit paying the taxes, went to the state, just sit there, didn't go on a tax sale, didn't get turned over. So we brought that to both the county and the state's attention. But as you can see, it's a little block building, and it's just deteriorated to the point where we need to get something done with it.
Anyone here tonight to speak in opposition of Resolution R-13-81, condemning certain real property at 414 East Grand? 414 East Grand. Hearing none, Mayor, if there's no other discussion, please call the roll.
Would you please call the roll?
Jones.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Foley.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Carney.
Aye.
Adopted.
Okay. Thank you, Bart.
Good. Thank you, Bart.
Okay. And the next item of business is to consider ordinance number O-1322. First, I will entertain a motion to suspend the rules and read by title only.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to suspend the rules and read by title only. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Council, would you please read by title only?
Ordinance O-13-22, an ordinance waiving the requirements of competitive bidding for the purchase of certain real property related to the Higdon Ferry Widening Project, Phase 3, Printers Place to Crawford Avenue, and for other purposes. That concludes your reading. If you now entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Do I have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
And discussion. Mr. Carnahan.
Thank you, Gary Carnahan, City Engineer. We have two properties where we have reached an agreement with the owners of the property for the purchase price of the right-of-way for Higdon Ferry. And so we're asking you to approve those purchases tonight. This will be these are the last two properties that we'll be bringing to you where we have been able to reach an agreement. There were 16 property owners in this route. 12 of this is the 12th, 11th and 12th of the 16 where we were able to reach an agreement for the purchase price. There are 4 others that we have exhausted our efforts to do that, and so we have forwarded those files to the State of Arkansas Highway Department, and they will have to conclude the obtaining those right-of-ways. So, thank you. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to help.
Do we have anybody in the public comment section?
Yeah.
Okay. We don't have anybody signed up for that one. We have.
Oh, we got a call.
There you go.
Do we have questions for
We
Mr.
got a call.
Carnahan? Do we have any questions for that?
I was just going to ask, did you have update on how that would impact this work being completed on this phase?
Not exactly. The date that the Highway Department has on their books right now is July of this year for a bid letting date for the roadway work. My guess is that will have to be bumped back to November, would be my guess. In the meantime, we'll be relocating the utilities. We have a lot of utility relocation work to do in that small, compacted area. And when we're substantially complete with the utility relocations, they'll award the contract for the roadway work.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, you're very welcome.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thanks, Gary.
Okay. So, do we have no other discussion? Okay, hearing none, would you please call the roll?
Clark.
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Foley.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Carney.
Aye.
Adopted.
It's passed. Okay. The next item of business is to consider the Board of Directors' comments. Do you have any?
May I have something? I forgot that on May the 4th at Webb Center there will be a shoe contest, and the entries are $10, and I think the fee at the door if you go it's $5, and it'll be a first, second, and third prize, and you have to be 18 years old to wear 5-inch heels, I guess.
Wow.
It's at 127 Pleasant Street at the Webb Community Center. And, I second the motion that he made on the mayor city form of government, and I didn't want my constituents to think that I was against it. I am for it, is the reason that I second your motion a minute ago. But I'm still for the form. Wait a minute. I'm confused. I'm telling it backwards. I am for it staying the way it is now.
Ma'am.
How's that? And I'm not for it going backwards.
Right.
Thank you, Mayor.
In other words, we are for us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Any other comments that you'd like to make? Anyone? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to recognize the Hot Springs Police Department. This past weekend, we had a lot of visitors in Hot Springs. We had a lot of events going on. We had Derby Day that drew over 60,000 people. We had dignitaries in town for the additions to the Walk of Fame. We had visitors for a beautiful weekend in Hot Springs, and the Hot Springs Police Department did an outstanding job with all of the people and the traffic and everything.
Yes,
and I also wanted to recognize Deputy City Clerk Leslie Kaufman spoke to the Henderson State University alumni group in Hot Springs last week and did an outstanding job.
Great.
Great.
I wanted to thank Bill Burrow. The other night, I got a phone call. You are awesome. I got a phone call. I didn't catch it, and a lady left a message, and she left this incredible noise on my answering machine, and she said, I live close to the water treatment plant, and she said, I have to listen to this. And so I called Bill, and I said, oh my goodness, sounds like something's broken. Would you check this out? And within minutes, he was at the water treatment plant himself, and he said, is this what you heard? And I said, that's what I heard. And he was up there working on it within, like minutes. I think he might have been fishing or something. I'm not sure what he was doing. But he was on it and making that lady feel good about our customer service. And he couldn't fix the motor where it was, but he had a lot of good ideas on what to do about it and the sound, and people who lived up there had to listen to it, so he's right on it. So I thought, wow, that is the best customer service I've seen in a long time. So thank you, Bill, for being that efficient and that fast on something that was that loud. It was really loud. And I did want to mention that this weekend was an awesome weekend with Mike Huckabee coming to town, and the war hero Colonel Hugh Mills, the presentation. I know our officer back there was there, and he said it was an awesome weekend for him to have to stand guard over what we saw. Was awesome, wasn't it? And a lot of tears, I think. I think Pat McCabe was there too. Did you cry I cried.
Not bad.
Easy.
I only cry inside. Most of the time.
Well, I mean, there were some guys crying in that room. It was a pretty awesome day, and you know, to know that some people. I mean, that Colonel Mills got shot down 16 times and wounded, and I'm thinking he went back for more. He's a tough guy. And some patriotic music, and Tony Orlando. You'd have to be old to understand, you know, but cool, dude. Tie a yellow ribbon around the old oak tree. I mean, only old people know those songs, but
Who's Tony Orlando?
old. But I'm old.
Dawn was.
And Dawn. Don't you remember
And then,
Dawn?
That was cool, but there was a lot of neat stuff, like you said, going on last weekend, and it was an awesome weekend in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and glad to be a resident of this city. It was a neat place to be all weekend. And anybody else have anything to say? No? Are you sure you didn't cry? No?
About to cry now.
Don't you have a comment? Anything to say, Mr. McCabe? All right, can't get anything out of it. Okay. That concludes our business, and immediately following, we'll have a public commentary on issues. And if you'll hang around, we'll do that.
I move that we adjourn.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second? Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Our meeting is adjourned. Thank you.